Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So one of my viewers asked a question about small transformers and if they were worth the time to take apart for the copper. Transformers come in all different sizes, they come in all types of electronics and appliances. This one you can see the transformer on a microwave control panel door. I have some that come out of TVs off circuit boards. And the nice thing about transformers is they are their own category at a scrapyard. They're about 10 to 15 cents a pound, depending on where you're from. So that is one option. But a lot of the smaller ones, as well as the large ones, do have a lot of copper inside of them. This all would be number 2 copper that you see behind me. And number 2 copper currently is going for $4.30 a pound. It has gone down a little bit from last month, but $4.30 Canadian a pound is still a great price. So what I've done is I've already separated a number of them for the steel and the copper. I am going to do a couple last ones just to show you how to take them apart and weigh it at the end. The nice thing too is if you decide to take them apart, the metal that comes off of the plates, some of them, as you can see, this is the outer coating, or this is what they look like with the copper inside of them. I call them metal E's, so they kind of go together like this. This is still going to count as tin and shred. Tin and shred right now is going for about $259 a ton Canadian, so it's about 10 to 15 cents a pound. So it still gives you the price from the metal instead of the transformer. But again, how much copper is it worth your time? We're going to find out. And as I said, some of these transformers, I've taken a different approach. I've looked at a different variety of them. This one, as you can see inside of that, there is some nice copper spool in there. Here is a different type that has a little bit higher, thicker wire and some nice spools in there. These are very recognizable on circuit boards because they have the yellow tape around them. Some of them do have a metal exterior that go together like plates. And I've not gone any higher than this mid-size. If you looked at the comparison, this one is the highest I've gone. And the big ones like this come out of a transformer. So these are very large. So I did not focus on these ones. And the nice thing is these are very easy to take apart. This one, all I'm going to do is actually hit the outer coating or protective barrier with a hammer. This is magnetic, so I still throw the rest of this into my steel pile. I do want to make sure I wear safety glasses anytime I'm using a hammer and breaking things, you know, the potential of injury. So very easy, just breaking the outer coating. It's just going to unfold. I put it all with my tin shred still. Okay, so there it is. You can see it's the tape helps to keep it together. But a really nice copper wire that's going to come out of here. And some of the copper wire you're going to notice is a auburn color. Some of it is a nice shiny bare bright look. And someone else asked me a question about the bare bright copper. If little spools like this should go into bare bright. When you are looking at copper wire, bare bright only pertains to wire that is thicker than 16 gauge. And 16 gauge is about the thickness of the lead of a pencil. So that wire definitely is not the thickness of a pencil. So all of this wire is going to go into number 2. And again, I'm not going to complain because number 2 is $4.30 a pound Canadian, which is an amazing price. Okay, but as you can see, this has a really nice spool of copper. And someone might say, well, why don't you just break it apart? I find it therapeutic. So again, really nice spool there. I do, for this experiment as well, factor in the waste. So I am separating this, putting it into a waste pile. There is not much in here. It does not weigh that much, so that's great. Some transformers, if you look at them, some of them are very easy to tell if it's worth taking apart or not. If I take this one, it does have the metal prongs together, but if I turn it, you can see inside of that, it's a lot of tape. There is very little copper recovery in there. So you have two options. I would not bother breaking it apart. I would leave this, throw it into my tin shred pile, or just leave it with my transformers if I have a number of them. So I'm not going to take this one apart. Some of the smaller ones, I do advise when you are taking these apart, you do want to remove the outer tape because the tape acts as a nice sealant. It keeps the prongs together, and in order to get those prongs apart, you want to make sure that they are separated. And one, as I said, taking that tape off really helps. And so I'm going to focus on this little one here. Very easy. I've already taken it apart. There are always two strands on it. As you can see, really nice copper inside on that side. All I'm going to do is break it off the plastic ends. Okay, and it's okay if there's tape on there because it's number 2 copper. The scrap yards are not going to say anything, but really nice. Just pulls right out, nice and easy. And again, there's a nice spool of number 2 copper inside of that. It all adds up. And just going to speed up the process here. Just cut it. All adds up. Okay, it just slides right off of there. And for some people that think, well, it's not worth my time, I collect all of my motor weight, transformer weight. It does add up for me quickly, considering I get a lot of material. Okay, but it's okay to have the tape on there, the scrap yards, because it's number 2. The scrap yards are not going to say anything about that. Okay, but I want to make sure I pull the plastic. This plastic has to come off. But again, nice spool right there. This plastic I'm going to throw in my garbage bucket. Okay. Again, another nice one. I would just hit this with a hammer, take the nice copper spools out of there. Okay, I am going to focus on this one. Again, this is your steel E, if you will. And all I'm going to do to break these plates apart is the first thing, I want to put it into my vise. And when you look at the direction of the plates, they will fold like so. Once I put it in a vise, I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver, and I'm just going to hit right in the middle there. And I've already started this one. But I'm just going to hit this plate backwards. So it's going to come off that way. Once I do that, I will hit the other direction and hit this one out. And the first few prongs are always the hardest. Once you start getting the plates out, it gets easier because there's more space. Okay, but I'm going to hit that out. You can see sometimes you'll get 2 or 3 plates depending on the size, depending on where you are when you're taking it apart. But these are all going to go into my steel pile. Going to look, there's another one. Okay, and once you start loosening it up, sometimes they come off. What I like to do afterwards is, some of them are still stuck with a little bit of tape, so I just take the back of my hammer and I will just hit between them just to loosen them. Then I'll take a pair of pliers. I'll just start pulling them out. You can see they come out nice and easy. Sometimes I do have to twist them. Sometimes if I have 2 in my hand, it's going to be a little harder. Okay, but sometimes they will just fold right out. Break them apart. Okay, but again, nice thing about this is all tin and shred. All right, so I have a really nice spool here. This wire that you see on here, I'm going to take this wire, I will put this into my 60% recovery. So this is actually going for $2.13 a pound right now, which is great. So I don't have to waste it. So I am going to make sure I separate that off to the side. 2 really nice spools. Again, take this plastic off, throw it in the bucket here under my feet. Okay, but this is a little bit thicker. And you do want to make sure that you get all of, there we go, all of the edges of the plastic off, so this will slide out nice. Okay, but sometimes it is taped in there. Just got to make sure you get the leading wire there. Look at how nice that is. Okay, so again, this is not going to be Bear Bright, even though it looks it. It is not thicker than 16 gauge. Okay, so that's to clarify that. And as well, it has tape on it too. When there's tape on it, Bear Bright has to be clean of any residual, clean of any type of glue. Okay, but again, this is still going to be number 2. Okay, and there's always going to be 2 sides to this. Let's make sure I can throw a screwdriver under that, pull the last panel off of plastic. Okay, it's just a protective barrier. There it is. So there's some plastic. There's my second spool. And I'm just going to speed it up by just using a pair of pliers and just cutting it. And then I'll just fold it off there. There we go. So there again is my copper. Just going to fold it up there. There it is. It's stubborn. There we go. Pull it. Muscle power. Okay, but very thick. Get this little bit of coating off. There we go. Help loosen it up. There we go. And last bit. Want to make sure I get all of it. There we go. Okay, so again, a little bit of plastic, residual, garbage. Okay, something like this, sometimes you will see transformers that have a nice copper coating on it or a copper piece to keep it together. I do cut that copper off, but again, if I look inside, you can see a lot of paper. This is not worth, in my opinion, to take out the little bit of copper in there. So just take the copper tape off there. And I have done that. You can see on a larger one, this is copper. One little piece of advice as well is when I was talking about the red, make sure you scratch it. Sometimes they will use aluminum that is coated. If I scratch it and it appears to be metallic underneath, that is aluminum. So you do not want to put this into your copper pile. I've scratched this. This is copper, which is great. Okay. And again, my last one that I have here, the same little thing here, just a little bit of plastic. Here's my copper, smaller one. Okay, and I'm just gonna throw that right in. More copper, look at that, a nice, just folds off. Very, very thin, okay, but it all adds up, in my opinion. So, moment of truth. When I get my scale here, here it is. I'm gonna first weigh my steel. Okay, so as I said, it was 9.5 pounds of transformers, which would give me about 95 cents. Okay, better than nothing for sure, with little work. I would say that combined, taking all these transformers apart, it only took me about not even an hour. And again, I was going through different things, taking some time, so very easy to do. Okay, but again, so I'm gonna weigh first of all the tin shred. So there's my tin shred from 9.5 pounds. I still have 7 3/4 pounds of steel. So I said 95 cents from all of it together. Here I still have 75 cents already just as steel. Okay, so I'm gonna put this into a bucket. And usually what I do is I will actually, once I take a microwave apart, I will just throw it into the door of the microwave or into the cooking area because it's a nice storage area. I load it up with tin shred and bring it in all together. But 7 3/4 pounds there. Now my copper, again, I'm gonna weigh it. I'm gonna put this back to 0. Here is my copper. I have right here 1 pound 11 ounces, so almost 1 pound 3/4. As I said, at $4.30, so almost $6.50 there. So almost almost $7. So in my opinion, well worth it. And for some of you who are looking at it and thinking, well, you know what, that's only that amount. Here is a bag that I collect. This is all the motor and transformer copper that I have. This bag weighs 23 pounds already. So it does add up. This is just going to go into this pile, and I'm going to keep adding to it. And as I said, last thing I'm going to weigh is the garbage. So if I put this back at 0, I have 3 ounces. So very little garbage. Again, it took me less than an hour to do, to upgrade, to separate it. Again, some of them, if you look at them and they do not show copper, they are not worth your time. But in my opinion, the ones that are steel pronged together, or the ones that you can see visually, the copper, well worth your time and effort. But again, it's entirely up to you. So thank you very much for that question. Hope it answered that. Comment down below. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.